Welcome to this Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tabacco. And today, for Money Monday, we got a lot to talk about. The market had a wonderful week last week. And then just at the end of last week, over the weekend, we had an attack on some Saudi Arabian oil fields. And that is roiling the markets. We're coming to you today live, as we do every day, from noon to 2 Eastern. Live from the Newsmax headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. And before getting into today's show, let's go downtown to the New York Stock Exchange. And when we go downtown to the New York Stock Exchange, we will see the Dow is down 180 points. As we speak, 160 now, just coming back a little bit. Still over that 27,000 number. That's been a key indicator for me. We need to hold that 27,000 mark. And lots going on Money Monday. Coming up in just a few minutes, the CEO of BCB Bank, Tom Coughlin, joins us to talk about everything that's going on with the Federal Reserve and everything that's going on with cannabis and everything that banks are facing with this new economy called cryptocurrency. We'll get into all of that and more. And usually, I say right about now, joining me as usual, my co-host. But as you can see, my co-host is not here today. My co-host is, I guess he's recovering today because yesterday was his bachelor party. And Frankie's about to become a wedded man in just 2 weeks. And we had some get-together, some guests from the show, some friends, all the bigwigs, all the politicos were there to celebrate Frankie's bachelor party. And the only thing Frankie didn't do was answer the bell this morning to get here. So I'm going it on my own. Rich Valdez is going to join me in just a little bit. Let's get into today's show. For Money Monday, I want to talk about some things that are going on in the market and some stuff that I've been talking about for a while. You know, we've been giving you some deep insights on Overstock.com. Overstock.com is a company that I had a business affiliation with for almost 15 years. I know the former CEO, Dr. Patrick Verne, very well. He's no longer affiliated with the company. And I have been telling you, our viewers, for months now, from when the stock was about 15 bucks, that there were some really good things going on there. I've asked you to take a look at it, educate yourself, see if it was something that was suitable for you. Others, like my missing co-host Frank Morano, have taken a deep dive and invested in Overstock.com. And a very unusual thing is happening right now. And you may want to take a look at this because there's going to be some fireworks this week. Overstock.com has a subsidiary called T0, which is one of the forerunners in the world in innovation and first mover adoption of digital security is trading. It's trading on Overstock's T0 platform. And just going back towards the end of August, Overstock put out a public 8K announcement letting everyone know that there was going to be a special dividend. And for every 10 shares of Overstock you owned, you got one digital share, which is going to be distributed to the holders of record, and the record date is Monday, September 23rd. Now, I've talked to you about short selling many times. Short selling is a strategy that is used by people who think stocks are overvalued. They're making a bet that they're going to go down, and there is a significant short position in Overstock.com. By my calculations, unscientific, but I do have access to a whole bunch of public data that many people have access to. And it looks like there are about 12 million shares short in Overstock.com. That's nearly 1/3 of their entire outstanding shares of 37 million. And the problem is this, as pointed out in Bloomberg today, Bloomberg was pointing out today that there is a potential for a massive short squeeze, meaning people who are short, if the stock keeps going up today as we speak, Overstock is $22. And as it keeps going up, those people who are betting against it are getting in hotter and hotter water. At some point, they have to either take some more pain or liquidate the position. And when everybody starts to feel the pain too much, they start to cover. They cover those positions. They start buying back stock. It foments sometimes other buying. And a short squeeze of monumental proportions may be happening because of this dividend. People who are short the stock cannot get their hands on this dividend, which leaves them open to unlimited upside losses if they can't get their hands on the dividend. So probably by the end of this week, you're going to see a heck of a lot of those shares covering. S3 Partners was quoted today in that Bloomberg article that there was about 1 million shares of the 12 million covered last week, which is a big amount. And some calls around the street that, I talk to people, I meet them after work, and we marinate some ice cubes down at Bobby Vans and talk about all the things that are going on in the markets. And people are petrified because this is the new wave of cryptocurrency coming to the markets. This is a digital security token, and it's going to settle a whole new way. And the shorts are stuck pretty hard now. So I'm not telling you to go out and buy overstock. This is a sophisticated trade. You should make sure it's suitable for you. You should educate yourself. But know this, notwithstanding some regulatory action, Overstock.com is set up right now for a potential short squeeze like I've never seen before. I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'm going to keep you posted on that. Do some homework, see what's going on, keep your eye on it. I've been telling you since about $15 that I think there's some great value there in all this new innovation, blockchain security token world. And we're going to talk about that in a little while, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin with Tom Coughlin from BCB Bank. And now on to some politics to start today's show. We're going to have Jen Kearns on a little later on. We're going to be talking about Planned Parenthood. And we're also going to be talking about Joe Biden, who is the leading contender on the Democrat side, but the guy is a mess, and we're going to get into his bleeding eyeballs and his teeth falling out and forgetting that he doesn't know what state he's in sometimes. But now people are asking questions like, is this guy losing his marbles? Because this story is out there now about Joe Biden rambling on and on about how he went toe-to-toe with an African-American gang member when he was in his teens and he was a lifeguard at a pool in an African-American neighborhood. The clip is a little long. It's about 2 minutes. But I want you to listen to this, and you tell me, or you figure it out for yourself, is this guy even sane?
This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and they weren't allowed to. There was a 3-meter board. And if you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did, and back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There was a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you kidding me? He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him. but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, closed the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
Joe starts talking about corn pops. I figure I'll have some popcorners. The guy is like a one-man comedy show, if you ask me. He's talking about corn pop. Corn pop. He's retelling a story from 60 years ago to a bunch of kids. And I don't know if you heard it in there, but when he was talking about corn pop, he said, hey, you all remember about them straight razors, and you used to put them, scratch them on the curb and put them in the water to get them rusty? No, Joe. No one you're talking to knows what a straight razor is. No one knows about scraping it. And quite frankly, there's a Newsweek article out that says this didn't even happen. It's quite doubtful that even this happened. But Joe, and I don't know if you noticed, but he's talking about, y'all know about this. He's trying to get his slang on as he's telling this cockamamie story. And I'm sitting back eating popcorn, and popcorn is like, tell me more about corn pop, Joe, because this is about as kooky as it gets. And my producer, Nico, made a great point this morning. If Donald Trump ever came out and started telling some story about how he went toe-to-toe with a gang member named Corn Pop, and he had a 6-foot chain that he was going to wrap around his head, they'd be calling for the 25th Amendment. They'd be calling for that he's lost his mind. And for those of you who are around my age, like early 50s, maybe even late 40s, there used to be this group called the Jerky Boys, and they used to make like prank phone calls. And one of the pranks was the guy used to call up mechanics and he'd say, looking for a job, and say, yeah, I'll come down there and wrap a ratchet around your head. And Joe Biden reminds me of one of the Jerky Boys when he says he told the gang member with the straight razor he was going to wrap a chain around his neck. Corn Pop, Jerky Boy, all this and more coming up on today's show. No Frank, but Tom Coughlin joins me next from BCB Bank.